Beautiful day, Patriots. How are you? It's a kind of a big day today. Something big has happened, and I want to show examples of how we can be told something, but the information, let's say, is so deep or so new or just so overwhelming that our brains can't absorb it and acknowledge that we even heard it. Um, I don't know if that made sense or not, but I'm going to give you two examples of how that works. Now, you hear me talk about Council of Time.com. The man's name is Michael, and he has an incredible archive history talking about the Bible and many other things that pertain to our lives and our soul and how the world works. If you listen to him after a certain point in time, you start to understand and hear his language and understand how he speaks and talks. And the other things are that you start to understand that he knows much more than he tells or says. And you also get the strong impression that he knows much more than he's allowed to tell. Yeah. So, like one of the examples, and I hadn't heard anyone talk about this yet, and it's not that I go looking at everybody's channels because I'll explain that also here in a second too. That I try to keep my mind focused in certain areas so I don't get sidetracked in other areas because it is a choice. Our whole life is a choice, right? So one of the things that Michael was talking about just recently, just very recently, in the past few weeks, and was that he was saying that we might see a world leader, president, um, king, dictator. He didn't say what type of a world leader, but he said that we would lose a world leader, and like I said, I believe he was even using the word assassination. That there would be a world leader would die at the hands of evil or of it's, once again, you can see that I'm trying to choose my words carefully here, and but then again, just a couple days ago, Cuba, no, not excuse me, not Cuba, Haiti lost their president by assassination, correct? And he told us this was going to happen very shortly. The other thing that he just said just recently, was that, and I'm not trying to glorify this man. I'm just saying that he has a lot of information. If you go there, you'd be able to digest your own, and you'll want to read the Bible, which is what he also strongly suggests. We're here trying to get you to read the Bible, not listen to people. Okay, does that make sense? So go listen to him, and hopefully he will help you also want to read the Bible. So the second thing that he was talking about, just I believe last week, was that he was saying that the sun was going to get ready to pop off and do flares, CMEs, in larger than we've ever seen before. And I'm just doing the last couple examples of something that he warns us and foretells us. But a lot of times we can hear this information, but he tells us so much in just a short period of time that we can't digest everything. And then if we go back and listen, we're like, wow, he did say this. He did predict this. He did, not predict, just warned us that this, okay. And today, just a few hours ago, the sun did pop off a second CME. A few days ago, the backside popped one off, and then just a little while ago today, one popped off on the. And early reports are saying that it's possibly the very largest CME that's ever been recorded. Now, granted, we've only been doing that for so many years. We've only had satellites in the skies recording this, to our knowledge, for so many years, correct? Decades, 50, 60 years, something, maybe give or take a few decades, right? So, but in that time frame, where early reports are that today was the very largest X flare that's ever been recorded. And he's saying that the flares are going to be so large that X flares, because it goes C, or let's see, C, anyways, X being the three of the, there's three classes of flares depending on its size, and X being the largest, and it goes through 1 through 10. And he's saying that the flares are going to be so large that they're going to have to give it a new class, a Z class is what Paul Begley called it, And today that just happened. We'll see what they actually say and how big it is, and, don't trust NASA, but we have to go to NASA to get the satellite reports. So there's one thing that, showing examples of how we can hear things and not hear it, even if after it happens. We still didn't hear it, okay? Here's the second one. Let's go ahead and look at this. We're still in Genesis. We're just going to keep reading Genesis here for a minute. And since we were talking about right now the sun having a large X flare, or at least a very, very large X flare. So let's talk about the sun here for a minute and show and prove to ourselves that we know everything, that we absolutely know everything, and there's no reason for us to restudy things, okay? Maybe that's sarcasm. Okay, in the beginning, God created heaven and the earth, correct? It wasn't a theory. It's not a Big Bang theory. It's not an evolutionary theory. What happened. This is what happened. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw that the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. The first day, right? So we can see that we're talking about, before we read this, the large flares that Michael had warned us that are coming, like many other worldly climatical, I don't know if that was a word, climate changes that are happening. He's showing us and preparing us for many, many things. Preparing us for Jesus is what he's preparing us for. But now we look at Genesis, we can see that God made light, earth, day and night, the very first day, correct? We all know this. We all know this. Right? So what? Now, I ask you, since we're talking about the sun, did God make the sun on the first day? You're saying absolutely he did. Like I did 2 days ago. Here's what I'm talking about. I chose yesterday on YouTube, to watch preachers preaching. I do this constantly. I fill my ears with the Lord of the God as much as I possibly can. Yes? And I heard a preacher talking about this, and I'm passing this on the day of that biggest flare. No, God did not make the sun on the first day. We have to go all the way to the third day. To the third day. Let's see. I'm going to run out of time. And the evening and the morning were the third day. And God said there, "Let there be lights in the firmament and in the heaven, and divide the day from the night, and let them be there for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. God didn't make the sun